Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more waterfowl patterning. And although we're starting to move out of the waterfowl season and into turkey season now, I've kind of got one more setup that I really want to test and see how it does, because it's definitely kind of a tale of old technology and new technology, putting them together and seeing how they do, I guess. So I'm definitely curious to see how it actually performs. Hopefully we should see something pretty decent looking today. But for the shell I've got out here today, I brought out some more of these. Now no, these are not Western Super X shells. These are my grandfather's hand-loaded BB shells that he used to use when he would go out goose hunting. And these are pretty stout load, and they've been proven to actually perform pretty good. He hand-loaded these shells in the early 80s or so they're definitely far from modern, that's for sure. And here's what those shells look like. Definitely nothing special here. And they are a 1 7/8 ounce load of lead BB. So a pretty stout little shell here. And as for the setup we're going to be running them through today, I brought out the Remington 1187. But I went with this choke. This is a Patternmaster Black Mamba 690 constriction, and this choke is kind of their do-all choke where you can take it waterfowl hunting or turkey hunting with steel, lead, TSS, whatever. And it does have the gas over constriction method built into it here, so I'm definitely curious to see how this modern style choke does with those 40-year-old hand loads. But as for our test, everything is set up the same as usual. I have the duck target at 40 yards. I have the chronograph, so we'll be able to get our speed. Although he didn't write anything on the box, these shells tend to be mid to high 1200s if I'm remembering correctly as far as velocity goes. So let's get you guys set up with a view of this target, and I'll head up and take the shot, look at our chrono, and then we'll go down to 40 yards and see how they actually performed. I'm definitely excited to see how well this combo does, since it's definitely a tale of old and new coming together here. It might work, it might not. I don't really know, but let's head over here and test it and see what it actually does. Okay, so that shell gave us 1285 through our chrono. So yeah, that's right about where I remember them being, is mid to upper 1200s. And a load of lead BB flying at 1285 downrange, that's going to be carrying a good amount of energy. So definitely no problem whatsoever inside of 40 yards. That's going to definitely get the job done. So nothing out of the ordinary up here to see, but how well did they actually pattern down at 40 yards? Let's go down and take a look. All right, so now we're down here at our 40-yard target, and this is what we got. Now, very clearly, we have a dead duck there, or a dead goose, or whatever would have been there. Multiple shots through the body, absolutely good enough with lead BB to get the job done, no question about it. Now, looking at our overall pattern here, it's a little bit interesting, I guess. Right off the bat, this is nowhere near as good as what these shells look like with the factory full choke in that gun, which for reference, his gun was an old fixed full choke barrel. So I don't know. I mean, this 690 Patternmaster is right about the same constriction as my stock full choke in that 1187. So I would have expected a little bit better results, but that's not exactly what we see here, or at least definitely not anything compared to what that stock full choke actually did. Now we do have a little bit of a core area, but it's kind of stretched vertically from the chest of that duck to right below the target there. And of course, nothing that would have been in there would have made it through. However, as soon as we get outside of that, I mean, there's some large gaps and voids all the way around the edge of this target here that I really don't like to see. Now, obviously, this is a load of BB, so we do have less pellets than a load of number 2s or 4s or something like that. So we do have to take that into account, but still, it's just not a super pretty or even looking pattern. So a little bit surprising here. I guess they just really didn't like that gas over constriction or something. So I guess not terrible, would do the job, but I was hoping or expecting for a little bit better, I'd say, overall here. So that's definitely something pretty interesting to see, that's for sure. Okay, and here's the wad out of that shell, and as you can see, definitely a little bit old school here, much more akin to a Target style wad. I believe these are some sort of Winchester AA wad or variant from back then. As you can see, they have WWAA12 on the bottom here, but overall here, not really anything too out of the ordinary or weird to see. You got all the little dimples from the BB, but really no major rips, tears, twists, anything like that I'd be concerned about. Everything looks pretty much perfectly normal from what we usually see out of these wads. So I don't think our wad really had anything to do with the performance today. I think it just didn't really like the gas over constriction quite as much as just a straight normal flush kind of choke, like that full choke in that gun that we tested before. I don't know, but the wad doesn't appear to be a problem for today's test anyway. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance there? Definitely a little bit interesting and a little bit on the disappointing side. It's absolutely good enough to do the job, and if you hit a duck or goose or whatever inside of 40 yards with a 1 7/8 ounce load of lead BB, it's absolutely going to hammer them and get the job done. There's no doubt about that. But definitely not quite as even or consistent of a pattern as we've seen out of these shells before. Really, I think he had it dialed in for a stock full choke. Like I said, his gun was a fixed full choke barrel, and they did really well out of that 1187 with that stock full choke. So I just think that's where he had them dialed in for, and they definitely performed pretty well through that setup. But as for this Patternmaster Black Mamba with the gas over constriction, sure, they would work, but definitely not anything I'd call super impressive at the same time, really. But as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. Is that about what you expected? Were you hoping for a little bit better? Surprised one way or the other on how they performed? And if there's any other gun or choke combos you might want to see those shells through, then by all means, leave a comment and let me know that as well. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to film for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send things if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.